Hi, I'm Chris Haigh and this is the Fiddle channel, and today we're going to play Sweet Sue. Sweet Sue was a request from one of my supporters on Patreon, and it's one of the simplest and most straightforward gypsy jazz standards. It was written in 1928 and as a popular song and recorded by Django in 1935 with Django singing, and he does a remarkably good job. I've never really listened to Django singing before. I'm going to concentrate on the melody and how we can dress the melody up, but I'll also give you a few ideas for soloing. So let's start off with the A section. 1, 2, 3. So it's just 8 bars repeated. I have to say I never play it that way, but that's where we're going to start. And then the B section. So the final A section is the same as the first two, except that it ends on a G instead of a E. Now let's just go through that exactly as I've just shown you, and then we'll start to build on it. So let's add a few ideas to that. So we got long open A's. You don't want to play it with an open string, and you don't want to play it with a fourth finger. What I want to do is to play that with a second finger in third position. For two reasons. One, it gives me a nice slide. And it gives me a much better vibrato than I can get on the fourth finger, and obviously you can't get any on an open string. We've got quite a few long notes in the first half, and particularly those notes, I would break them up. So something like... So it doesn't really matter how you break them up, but you want to have shorter notes and a bit of swing and a bit of syncopation within those longer notes. One pattern I like to use a lot is da-ba-da-da-da-da-ba-da-da. And this kind of stuff is done best near the tip with tiny bows, but quite a lot of articulation, which comes from the twist of the wrist. And your final 2 bars of the A section, you're pretty free to do more or less what you want within that space. I'm just going to fill that space up. Now, it's all very well saying fill that space up. One guide to what will help you is use the major pentatonic scale. I do have a video all about that, but if you, most of the melody is pentatonic, and if you do your little fills just using those kind of notes, then you're not going to really go far wrong. When we come to the B section, again, I'm going to break up the notes. What I'm definitely not going to do is 8 even notes there. When it comes to that note, the C minor chord, I'm going to play a C note, but I'm going to put the E flat underneath it. And then going from here to here, some kind of scale. Oh, would be nice. If you know how to do those harmonics, that's a perfect way to end the melody. So you're playing 2-1 in third position, but you're playing them really lightly, so you get those nice harmonics. Okay, let's speed it up and go through that again. Notice on that last line, I went from the pentatonic scale to the major blues scale, which is just a way of spicing up the pentatonic scale, which is very effective in this kind of tune. And again, I do have a video all about the major blues scale. Let's try now some improvisation, a solo through this sequence. And you'll find that the A section is very easy. You don't really have to pay much attention to those chords at all if you don't want. You have to pay a bit more attention in the B section. One approach to the B section would be allowing that long D note to go all the way through. So you might do something like... something like that. So you're just staying on the D but making it rhythmically interesting by rocking between your first and fourth finger. Or you might go for the descending line, which is kind of implied by the chords. Oh. So we've got the G, the F sharp, the F natural and the E. So let's go through it again. First time I'm going to play the pentatonic scale, and the second time I'll do either of those two things I just suggested. So that was pretty much pentatonic, apart from the third line, the bridge. If you're going to pay a bit more attention to the chords, looking at the beginning, what we have there is a 2-5, 2-5. Going to a 1. If you don't know what I mean by 2-5-1, then I do have a video about that. It's a bit similar to Honeysuckle Rose, which starts off with 2-5-2-5, 2-5-1, like that. So if you're going to be playing pentatonic, then better to start your phrases not on the G but on the A. And then not kind of resolve to the G until you get to the second line. Stuff like the B diminished, we'll leave for another day. You can pretend that doesn't happen. The most interesting line harmonically is the descending G7, F sharp 7, F7, E7. And to be honest, you better, rather than trying to deal with those chords, just playing around the melody, or take one of those two approaches that I said. Stay on the D, or work on the roots. It's an easy song, and there's no need to make it really difficult just for those little bits. Okay, so let's finish off with once around the melody, including quite a lot of improvisation, and then a proper solo. Two more ideas before we do that. Parallel fifths is something I'm just about to do a video on. That works really well. We're thinking about the lower note, but we're fingering both strings, and we're angling the bow so that you can play both strings at a time. So I'm going to do some of that. The melody, I'm going to go up an octave for the bridge. And that's a really good thing to do. You could go up the octave for the second B section if you wanted as well. And finally, I'm going to stick some deliberate pauses into the solo. So watch out for all of those. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a PDF of the sheet music for the basic melody, then do subscribe to the channel, send me an email, I will send you a copy. And if you'd like to get hold of all of my PDFs, over 600 of them, then they're all on my Patreon page, and it's the Patreon that keeps these videos coming. Thank you for watching. See you again soon.